Good morning. It's Tuesday, the 5th of May. Greetings from Northumberland on a beautiful morning again. We continue with our readings, looking at the Acts of the Apostles and St. John's Gospel. In St. John's Gospel, Jesus has been exploring this theme of a shepherd. And a couple of days ago, we had this idea of there being more than one flock, Jesus calling sheep from different flocks into the one flock, which is his church, which is his life. And in the Acts of the Apostles today, we have another marker in that expansion of the church and the understanding of the early church as to who is being called and recognized. Yesterday we had Peter recognizing that no one is unclean, that all can be called into the life of the church. And that's a long lesson for us to learn as a Christian church. Indeed, many would say, me included, that it's a lesson that we're continuing to have to learn, that we don't call people unclean, and that we seek to open up the church to as many people as possible. For the church in the Acts of the Apostles today, reading from Acts chapter 11, the different people are in a different place. People from Antioch are beginning to hear the word of God. And the church sends Barnabas to have a look at things, and he finds there the beginnings of this Christian community. It was in Antioch that the disciples were first called Christians. And what Barnabas, who was a natural includer, did then was to go and find Paul, to go and find this man who was still, I think, being regarded with fear and suspicion by many Christians, and to incorporate him into the work of building and growing and developing the church in Antioch. It's a very important point. God can use each one of us. God can use me and you and Paul and Barnabas. And we are called to work together, to build community, to build the church. Building community is not easy when we meet face to face, and it is even more difficult when we are spread apart. The phone call, the conversation, these are the things that continue to build community on a sort of human sense, and our resolve to pray together and stay together on a spiritual sense are also important. In Antioch, the community was built, in part through the ministry of Barnabas and Saul, but also through the coming together of that embryonic Christian community. Those communities of the Acts of the Apostles are important for us because they show us the way forward. By coming together as the people who take the name Christian, we can have an effect in our own local communities and in our world. Our minds are beginning to turn, perhaps too soon, but they are beginning to turn to what we want the church to be when we're able to meet together again. And of course, what the church is to be is actually what it was or should have been before. It's there in the Acts of the Apostles. A praying community, a loving community, an open community that accepts and incorporates many different people, and above all, a community that follows the leading of the Good Shepherd. May God bless us today and always.